In this lecture, I'm going to show you how you might go about footprinting a WordPress website. Obviously, we're going to be doing this against our test lab that we set up and not on a real internet website. The first thing we need to do is make sure our WordPress VM and our Kali VM is powered on. Here we can see the Kali VM is powered on and the WordPress VM is powered on. Now we know from the previous lecture that the WordPress VM in my environment is 192.168.10.10. And it's attached to the same host-only network that my Kali VM is attached to. So first thing we need to do is open our Kali VM and log in. So I'm going to open the Kali VM. I'm going to hit right Control and F to enter full screen. And I'm going to enter the username root and I'm going to type in the password. Now we're going to footprint this server with a tool called WP Scan. Now we'll want to update the WP Scan database and that will require an internet connection. So I'm going to choose my NAT adapter and connect to it. Now my NAT adapter is connected to Ethernet 1. If you're not sure how to check this, get out of full screen mode, click Machine in the top left corner, choose Settings, go to Network, and we have Adapter 1, which will be considered Ethernet 0, and then we have Adapter 2, which will be considered Ethernet 1. So we can see adapter 2 is connected to NAT. So whichever adapter is connected to NAT, that's the Ethernet adapter we're going to use to connect to the internet. So I'm connected to Ethernet 1. So if I open the terminal on the left-hand side of the screen here, I'll just maximize this and I'm going to pop back into full screen mode. If I run a ping to google.com, I should get a response. And that tells me I'm connected to the internet. So I'm going to type in clear and remove this from the screen. And we're going to update the WordPress scan database. So the first thing you'll want to do is just type in WP scan and press enter. Now this gives us all kinds of usage information. We can see who created it, their website, and we can see how this tool can be used. So we have non-intrusive scans. We have a password brute force. We can check the installed plugins, installed themes, users. We can use a proxy if we'd like. Or we can update the database, which is what we're going to do. So we're going to type in WP scan --update and we'll press enter. It says it's updating the database and now it's done. So now what we want to do is run a scan against our local WordPress server and see what we can find. First thing I'm going to do is clear the screen again. And then we'll need to switch over to our host-only network that our WordPress server is running off of. In this case, it's attached to my Ethernet 0. So I'm going to click connect. And I'll type in ifconfig and make sure I have a valid IP. And we can see I have 192.168.10.11. Let's try and ping the web server, which is 192.168.10.10. And we are getting a reply. So we know that we're connected to the web server and on the same network. So I'm going to hit clear again. And now we're going to run WP scan --URL. And then we're going to type in the address of the website. So http://192.168.10.10. And we're going to output this to a file called wpscan_001. And we'll press enter. Okay, so now we have the scan and it's been output to the file. If we just press ls and press enter, this will list all the files in our current directory. Here we can see the WP scan file has been output. Now, in order to look at the contents of this file, we need to type in CAT, which stands for concatenate, and then WP scan_001. This is going to output whatever the contents of this file is, which is the command that we just ran up here for WordPress scan. So now we can see all the information from the scan. So let's scroll all the way up here to the top, and let's go from the top and go down. So here we can see the command was run. And then we have the URL, the page we're scanning, the date it was started. And we can see the readme.html. It exists exposing a version number. So we can see the version of Apache that we're running here. And also we can see the XML RPC interface is available, which allows us to run brute force attacks against the server. Now we can see here 26 vulnerabilities have been identified. And this is a relatively high number. But that's okay because we're going to have fun with it. Now we can see here under this first vulnerability here. We have a WordPress, anything older than version 4.0. There's a long password denial of service. And we have a bunch of references here. Now, these are web pages that we could click on and get more information. In order to get more information, we're going to have to connect to the internet. So I'm going to click up here in the top right corner, and I'm going to connect to Ethernet 1, which is my NAT adapter. Now, I'm going to hold left control or command or host, whatever your keyboard says, and I'm going to click on this first link. It's going to open Iceweasel, and we can see more information about the password denial of service. So if we scroll down, we can see the versions that it affects. Keep going down, we can see the CVE number. We can see the exploit database number, which means there is an exploit that we can actually run to take advantage of this vulnerability. And we can see who submitted it in their website and etc. the timeline. So we'll close out of this web browser, and what we can see here is these exploit database links. Now these are links to exploits that we can actually run against this web host. So if we open this link, we can see here we can download the exploit and run it against the website if we would like. So we scroll down, this is the actual code that takes advantage of the vulnerability. Close out of here. We can click on these other links as well. Let's check out behind the firewalls. Just check out this blog post, it looks like. So if we click on this link, we can see there's more information here about the WordPress vulnerability. So this just allows us to gain more information on how we can use this vulnerability to attack the host. We can also see a proof of concept. Now this is someone actually completing the host. So if we click on this link, and we have a video of someone actually using the exploit against the server. More information that will help us if we're trying to use this vulnerability. So let's go ahead and close out of this browser, and we'll close all the tabs. And now we can scroll down and we can just look at when it was fixed. So it's fixed in version 4.01. So if someone asks you to scan their website, you'll be able to recommend that they need to upgrade to at least 4.01, and that will resolve this vulnerability. It'll also resolve a whole bunch of other ones. We can see it down here, and you could tally it up and say, if you upgrade to 4.01, then you're going to fix 3 or 4 vulnerabilities. Now, of course, they should be at the latest version of WordPress to get rid of all these vulnerabilities that they can, but not everyone's going to want to do that. Sometimes people don't upgrade their WordPress servers because of compatibility issues with their plugins that they're using and all kinds of different reasons. So if you're asked to scan a website, you'll definitely want to let them know about the number of vulnerabilities that they have on their website and how they can be fixed. And it's simple as upgrading the WordPress version. So if we scroll down, we can see more of these. And this is a pretty long list of vulnerabilities on the web server. Now we can also see the WordPress theme that is in use. It's 2014. We don't see any vulnerabilities with that. So now what we want to do is clear this and type in WP scan again. What we want to do now is find all the user accounts that are associated with the web server. So here we can see enumerate users, and we can see the usage. So we're going to type in this command at the end when we scan the website. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to type in WP scan --URL http://192.168.10.10, and we're going to paste in, or you could just type it if you wanted, enumerate you. Now press enter, and let's just see what we get. And here we can see a list of all the usernames that are used. It also found all the exploits and vulnerabilities that we had found in the previous scan, which is why I didn't save this output directly to a file. So we'll want to just copy this information. Actually, let's go ahead and just drag from here, default first WordPress username, and go all the way up to enumerating usernames. And we'll copy this. And let's open LeafPad and paste this information in here. Now let's save this information. So we'll do save as, go to root, and we'll name this WP scan _usernames, and we'll hit save. It doesn't matter what you want to call it, just something that you'll be able to find it and easily understand what it is. So we'll go back to the terminal, clear again, and run WP scan, press enter, and see if there's anything else that we might want to run against the website. So let's go ahead and just check the plugins that are installed on the website. And we're going to type in WP scan --URL HTTP and then the address of the site. And we're going to type in enumerate P, because that up here enumerates the installed plugins. So now we'll press enter. And here we can see that it has plugins. So let's go ahead and just copy this information and do the same. We have one plugin. Now, most of the time in the real world, you're going to find there's several plugins installed and several vulnerabilities with the plugins. So you'll definitely want to check the plugins for vulnerabilities. So now that we have this, we're going to hit File, Save, and we're going to save it in the same location under Root. And we're going to call it wpscan_plugins. Okay, we'll hit Save. All right, so let's go back to the terminal, and now let's run an nmap scan against the host. And we're just going to run nmap 192.168.10.10, which is the IP address of our web server. And we'll output that to nmap_scan001. Press enter. And type in ls to list the files. Type in cat, C-A-T, space, nmap, and then press tab. It'll autocomplete for us, and press enter. And here we can see all the ports that are open on the host. So obviously we have 80 for HTTP, we have SSH, and we have NetBIOS, SSN, and Microsoft DS. Okay, so we've collected enough information about the server. Obviously you could collect more information if you'd like, and you could dig a lot more into the server with WordPress scan, but I think this is good for now. So if we open the folder files browser, here under the home directory, we can see that we have nmap scan, WordPress scan, the plugins, and we have usernames. So that's how I would go about footprinting a WordPress server. I hope you found this interesting. Great job getting through it, and I will see you in the next lecture.